right. Enough of that.
I was just grooving along with it, man. It's got a nice flow to it.
Yeah.
Oh yes. It's a song for DJs, made by DJs.
I think so.
Well, anyway, welcome to another episode of Two DJs and One Mic, with myself, the soft-spoken one, and we have the radical one on the right of me and the left for some. My partner in crime, DJ JP, and we're blessed with none other than Ben Stowe.
That's right. Mr. Ben Stowe is in the building.
Ben Stowe. I have to say that lightly. Stowe. Because I'm thinking about snow.
Yeah. But
it's cold up.
Yeah,
it is. I still see snow out my window. So
not a good thing. So we want to thank you, Ben, for jumping on with us. It's always an honor to speak with you. Many people haven't been graced with your knowledge, your demeanor. They haven't had that experience. But the first time we had a conversation, it was great. And, my partner in crime over here, he likes to take people. He's a kidnapper. I almost felt like kidnapping being that day.
Oh, okay.
Well, my mom was never worried about me being kidnapped.
People,
sorry,
yeah.
No,
yeah.
It's just a friendly joke, but
No, I know. I was just saying my mom was never worried about me being kidnapped as a kid because she always said they'd bring me back. So,
They probably would. Me too.
Paying her the ransom. They're like, here, take them back.
Yeah. Here's all the money.
You can have it back.
Yeah, how much you want?
But wow, man! But it is an honor to actually sit down and have you on the show, Ben. I mean, we've talked to you at different shows, but to actually come on the show and sit down and talk with us without any distractions or things going on around us is really cool. So
yes. Okay, so moving along, we want to talk to you about something that's really near and dear to you. So we have compiled some questions that will bring out that information.
Okay.
So starting with.
So first you kidnap me, then you interrogate me, right?
Yes. It goes down.
All right.
So Ben, you've been in the industry for a long time. And how did NLFX professionals get started? What inspired you to create the business that caters to so many of us?
That's a great question. I mean, I think because it's one of these accidental paths that, I would love to tell you I sat down and I charted out this journey and it brought us together and it's brought me all the cool things I got to do over the last 30 years, but that's not really it at all. And in fact, I'm glad that I keep this in my office here at home because you just never know when somebody's going to ask that question. And if you look right back there in the corner, you can see what looks like a coffee can painted black. Mm-hmm. That is exactly what it is. It's two coffee cans duct taped together, painted black with a light socket installed in the base of it. And I made that while I was living in a homeless shelter. And it wasn't like that was the idea. That was just a very temporary stopgap. I was making things and selling them to friends because I was trying not to be homeless. 0 out of 5 stars, do not recommend. It's not a good time. It's not near as cool as they make it look in the movies, right? So, so I was desperately trying to change my situation, and that led to, making and building electronic things and selling them, and then of course partnering with manufacturers who make them at scale. So we skipped a lot of time in there, but. That's the genesis of it. It was really just something I was going to do until I figured out what I was going to do when I grew up.
All right. So you figured out what he's going to do when he grew up. What major shifts have you seen in the DJ industry over the last decade, and how have they impacted independent dealers like NLFX? How they have in fact affected your company, Ben?
Well, I think there's a lot of things we've seen in terms of shifts, and I'll sort of highlight a couple, and then I'll try to direct that toward the retail side of that question. But I think certainly we've seen a lot of shifts in the technology. There's been a lot of change with regards to what DJing is, and of course, I mean, if you put 100 DJs in a room and asked them to define that, I think you'd get a lot of different questions. And I love seeing the responses people give on forums about, well, not in my market or not in this market. And it's, you have that mosaic of the world because different clients dictate what that looks like. But what we have is this shift in tools. The CD coming out, I think in 1981, and when I started in the 90s, that was all the hotness, right? If you had the Newmark dual CD player, you were on top of the game, right? And I think we can safely say I did not, living in a homeless shelter, have that. But and then it moves to the adoption of MP3 and digital media, and now we have stems, and you have all these tools. And oh my gosh, am I allowed to say the sync button on here? But I mean, so I think what we're seeing is technology continuing to change the face of the industry. There's a lot of discussion about what AI will do, and I think that actually is a pretty good segue to talking about maybe a future topic why we as humans are still so valuable to the process. The technology is a tool. I mean, certainly the way houses are built has changed a great deal, but it did not displace construction workers. Just made them more efficient and made them more productive. However, one of the things we've seen, of course, going back to the genesis of my time in the industry, is it used to be you drove to a DJ store, and I didn't have one within a few hundred miles. So that maybe kind of worked out for me because I had no choice but to build stuff, right? And my customers didn't have any choice either. Or you placed an order with a catalog and raise your hand if you remember self-addressed stamped envelopes. Yeah, right. Yeah, we all dating ourselves here, guys. But then you waited weeks for your gear to show up, and of course that has all changed significantly. The amount of gear that's available, the number of manufacturers making it, but notably, as with so many other things, it doesn't take too many trips down a traditional main street to see a lot of closed stores, to see a lot of, the way commerce has changed. I mean, I grew up in a really small town and there's literally nothing left there. There's, no car dealers, no stores, there's, maybe a drugstore, right? Because, everything's shifted. And, on one hand, I could say that, NLFX, obviously we do business all over the United States and we have a website. So on one hand, you could say, I guess we're part of that problem. But Main Street has changed. And I'm going to say why we're not part of the problem. Obviously I'm biased, but I think, us and other independent dealers are the new Main Street. We're the new people that, we're the family run businesses. We're not giant corporations that are held by private equity or publicly held. We still strive to make our community. Now it's no longer, just a town. Our community is the nation, right? You're in my community, even though we live a long ways apart. So, we as independent dealers, I think, strive to make our community a better place. We know the people that we do business with. We have a genuine interest in your success because it's tightly held to our success. And I think we're seeing a significant change in commerce where, we'll pick on Amazon. That just simply isn't the case. That doesn't exist in any form with Amazon. They have a very different business model, right? So that's a really long and winding way of saying, I think that's the Main Street has become very much challenged for our industry. And I think we have to decide if we care, but I think we should.
Okay. So in your DJ Collective speech, you mentioned that 70% of DJ gear is sold by just 4 companies. What does that mean for DJs, and how does it impact our ability to get the right equipment?
Well, those are great questions. And, it's a round number, 70%, right? So I don't know the exact number, but it's a staggeringly big number. It might be higher than 70%, but it makes the point that, when you have just 4 very large corporations that control an overwhelming majority, more than 2/3 of the music and sound equipment sales in the country, first of all, I don't think any consumer would feel like a lack of choice is good for them, and newsflash, if you think it is, it isn't, right? That means less competition. That means higher prices, less innovation. Competition's always good for the consumer. And 2, I think, you could begin to see less choice in the product realm too, right? Now, of course, I think we feel at a time right now that there's a lot of choice because you have a lot of direct to market things happening on, Amazon and other places like that, where, there's all kinds of stuff out there and some of it's kind of dubiously, it doesn't have any safety ratings or whatever, it's a really different rabbit trail to get down. But I think the trend is it's not good. I think that, when you think about that just 4 companies that are held by private equity or, large publicly traded corporations control already a majority and growing percentage of the sales in the marketplace. And then you think about who's left after those 4, it's a lot of names you'd know. And you'd say, wow, I thought they were pretty big. How are they not in the 4? Because we're talking about billion-dollar companies, multi-billion-dollar companies, and it takes a staggering number of multi-million-dollar companies to make a multi-billion-dollar company. And it's always, hey, Patrick, this is my ADHD is going to go nuts with these comments, but I love seeing it. So I think the moral of the story, right, is that, if you don't engage with and cultivate and value and even protect those relationships with independent dealers, you simply won't have them. Some manufacturers are already trimming back their dealer network to getting rid of the number of dealers they have. Again, not good for consumers, I don't think. Some have taken some wise, proactive steps already to say, hey, we see where this is going, and we don't want that for our brand. We want independent dealers who are engaged with the community, who know who the customer is, who know what the customer, really needs, and is putting those customers' needs first. That's what they want. But ultimately, you guys, the power is in your hands. You vote with your wallets, and it will be incredibly hard to bring independent dealers back if they're swept away. And again, the number of closures increases every day. And I know this is happening to every other industry too, but I only care about ours. I'll be honest,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So a follow-up question to that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Is how is that affecting you guys with the shows, the conferences and so forth? How are those numbers hurting you?
Well, gosh, I'll tell you. I feel like we could be here a long time, so I'll try to make this short. I think, first and foremost, what always surprises me is when DJs ask, why is nobody here? And when they say that, they mean the manufacturers. Why isn't all these manufacturers here? Why, MEX, PBX, great example. Everybody said the exhibit hall was 70% photo booths, maybe 80% photo booths. And they said, that's a bad thing, right? And I said, well, thank goodness for the photo booths, because frankly, if they weren't here, we wouldn't be here either. There wouldn't be a show. There simply isn't enough to support a DJ show in Las Vegas anymore, and so thank goodness that PBX made that partnership, took over where Mobile Beat was. But again, DJs ask, why aren't the manufacturers here? Why is it so limited? Why don't we have this big exhibit hall? And the answer is, you guys. I mean, to be honest, you guys, when you don't support those people that are there, they're not coming back. And I could tell you, and I won't call anybody out by name or anything like that, but I won't shame you, but it's amazing where we have people who are walking through our booth, looking at our stuff, and they got, like Amazon open on their phone, Wow. And first of all, the show specials should be better anyway, right? Second of all, we price match, but anyway, but it's just that the mindset right there.
Say that again, Ben. Stop. Say that one more time. Y'all please, price match.
Please.
We price match.
Okay, y'all heard that. Y'all know that. We're gonna make a note of that. They price match. So if you get a good deal on Amazon, just bring it to them, send them a copy, give them the link, and they will price match. And you will never beat the customer service that you will get from being in his staff. But all right, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, well, and to that end, nobody, and I do believe nobody is putting more back into the industry than we are. There are certainly some other great independent dealers, but I don't think anybody participates in the shows like we do. I don't think anybody participates in the forums like we do. I don't think anybody has the level of sincere engagement with DJs than we do. So not only are you not having to spend a penny more, but you're getting a lot more back. We're making this community better for all of us. And I think some people just don't care, and that's fine. I'm not telling you what to do and not to do, but for those that care, this is where the rubber hits the road, guys. And the clock is ticking. It is increasingly difficult for independent dealers to maintain, with some of the current economic climate, tariffs, things like that. So this is really a call to arms, I think.
Can I follow up? So
Yes, go
do
ahead.
you ask other people, do they, I mean, like other, I won't say just other companies, and you don't have to name anybody. The reason why they're not coming is because they just don't feel like it's worth their time, or what's the main reason? Is just, I don't know who to throw out there. I won't throw anybody, but are they
No,
just
it don't
saying it's
matter
really
because the
not
answer
worth
is the
their
same.
time?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It isn't worth their time. We've not made money at a trade show in well over a decade, and probably even more than 2 decades. They've not been profitable for us as a trade show. Think about this. Just break it down. Our margins are small. The gear prices are low. And I know some DJs think, well, it's not low. And again, you're talking to a guy who used to make lights out of coffee cans because I had to choose between eating or buying gear. I get that, $1,000 controller is expensive, but in the realm of professional audio, DJ gear is cheap. So you take low cost gear with a low margin, and then you have the cost of getting the freight to the show. You have the cost of staff to man the booth. You have the cost to house that staff and feed them. We fly them there, right? Ship the truck, the gear on the truck. And then there's, all the charges associated with that. And there's no way you can make money selling gear at a DJ show. You just can't. And you haven't been able to for over 20 years.
Wow.
Now you'd say, well, why do you do it then? Well, it's a good question. It's getting harder to answer, but used to be trade shows were about relationship, and you would establish relationships and you would make partnerships. And, we would say, this is our investment back in Jeff and Mike and, everybody else there, right? This is our investment back in you as our partner for the year. I think the challenge now is there's so many shows and people have such a short-term memory. And again, you have people literally walking around the show with their phone, scrolling the internet. Can I save $3 more? And I'm really good friends with a lot of other dealers. We have a lot in common, right? We deal with a lot of the same stuff and we share a lot of the same pain points. And also merchants and vendors that are in parallel industries, things that maybe aren't ours, but are closely associated with, maybe they make software for the DJ community or whatever. Right. And I mean, everybody kind of has that same viewpoint. Like, this doesn't make sense, right? I could sit at home and just, throw that money into Google AdWords. And that's not good for you guys in the end either.
No, it's not. Wow. Okay. All right. What advice to DJs who might be tempted to buy big box retailers instead of independent dealers? What would you tell them?
Don't.
That's simple.
Yeah. And my reasoning is because, again, it's the death of 1,000 cuts, right? And I realize, I get it, right? It's Friday at 5 o'clock and you need a cable because you don't have it, whatever, and you need that one thing, right? But DJs and musicians both are kind of plagued with I have to be careful how I say this, but I'm very much in the same category too, where we're not really always business people, right? We're impulse buyers. We don't make capital plans. We don't say, I'm going to, buy this controller in 3 months and amortize it over 24 months. We're like, ooh, it's now and I want it. Right. But if we thought more like business people, we would be in that position to do that. And then we would be able to control those impulses a little better. And we would say, all right, part of my capital plan is investing in my industry by buying from an independent dealer who's putting back into the industry. So I'm not going to go down to the big box store, today on an impulse. I'm going to partner with an independent dealer who's going to see if that's the right solution for me, help me understand how this is going to make me more money over time. Newsflash, by the way, we want you to make money. I mean, what good is a parasite if the host dies, right? And I don't want to be a parasite. We want to be a partner. We want you to be successful. We want your business to grow. We're not here just to extract as much money from you as we can to pay our shareholders. Newsflash, we don't have any. That money goes back into things like, trade shows and community events and giveaways and sponsorships and those sorts of things. And honestly, feeding really good people who really care about you. That's where that money goes.
Wow. So
Seth jumped on and he had a question. Hopefully Mike can hold this thought. He said, how would you change this? Can we change it?
Seth, I don't know about your second question about Kim, but I think the how is exactly what we're doing right now. I think it's about having the honest dialogue. It's about, pointing out the fact that you have this great disparity, this great inequality, and just, I think, mentioning to people that independent dealers are embattled. I think I know as a young guy going into a music store, I thought, man, they must be just making money hand over fist. That guy's got all the gear that I want, but I didn't see the behind the scenes, right? I didn't see, the floor plan financing he had to put that stuff in the store. I didn't see all those kinds of things. And that was then, and now it's even worse, right? So I think the how is awareness. I think if we, make people aware that you have a lot of great independent dealers to choose from. Obviously, I would love for you to choose NLFX. That's where I work. I think, again, nobody does more for the industry than we do, but there are other great independent dealers too. And I think that if you make that awareness and then people make the choice to support independent dealers, I think we've made the change. If they choose not to, then the writing's on the wall,
Yeah.
If we can't change hearts and minds, that's okay. It's not okay. But, we'll do something else, right?
Yeah.
And before I ask this question, I just want to say this. We often complain about customer service. And it's just amazing when you have a company like yours that when you use the term customer service, I think we have to come up with something else for you guys because you go, way beyond that. And when a person speaks with one of your people or yourself, they will not leave that conversation not knowing.
True.
You will make sure that they know and that they're able to make a sound decision in regards to what they're looking to buy.
Yeah.
And that's customer service. And for something that we complain so much about, we run from it. Yeah. So,
well, we care, really. And genuinely, I think everybody talks about customer service. Every company has a marketing, endeavor for customer service, and maybe that's what it is. But I think, there's an old saying, talk is cheap, right? And I'm glad to hear that we walk the walk. But the truth is we really do care. I would love to share with you guys some of the things I've seen. I've seen customer service people at my office sitting at their desk crying because they weren't able to achieve an outcome for a customer. A train derailed with a package or something way outside of our control. And they really tried to every way they could. And they understood how that is going to impact that customer. We know that this isn't just a box that goes out the door, right? This is something you're going to use and you're going to use it to impact other people. You're going to use it for special events and make, lifelong memories for these people. So we get it. And we're not perfect. We don't win them all. Sometimes I think we need to be much better at it. And I don't really want to judge us or compare us to the curve. We want to compare us to the standard we've set for ourselves. And I think that we still got work to do, to be honest, but it all starts with sincerity, and you can't fake that. You can't fake sincerity.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. So can you tell us about a time when NLFX went above and beyond for a DJ and what that big forgive me.
I got you. Yeah.
Above and beyond for DJs in a way that big corporations never would.
I would love to hear from your viewers on this. Honestly, I would love to hear those responses because I think for us, we don't really keep score. I do have one that popped into my head, but I think what we remember more are the ones that didn't go right. Those are the ones that stick with you where you're like, man, I wish I could have, or, where you feel like you couldn't win one for the customer, right? Because we wanted to. But I think my favorite one, and this is part about being a small company, but also being in a small city. The two kind of came together for this one. We had a customer who had, I don't remember the circumstance, but anyway, they'd ordered way too late. Basically, they needed something tomorrow, and it was like 6:00 already, and UPS is gone. The UPS hub is only about 2 blocks from our warehouse, but the trucks from there had gone. So anyway, we drove this package to the airport. This is no joke. Wow. We drove this package to the airport, and I threw it over the barbed wire fence to the UPS driver on the other side, who walked it to the UPS plane. We caught that plane by like seconds, Wow. But it started with, having the ability to get that package picked and excuse me. Sorry, guys. Mm-hmm. Get that package picked and pulled so quickly. And then, to go to the UPS hub and make your case, right? And be like, hey, this has to get on the plane tonight. and I think in a bigger setting, there's just it's too late, and we were like, no way, we can make it to the airport in 6 minutes. Tell them to wait for us. So that did only happen one time. I'll say that. I don't yeah. So
okay, so Seth says I have to own that. I buy whatever gear fits my up and coming event, and I tend to just Google the cheapest versus what brands I'm familiar with.
Wow.
Seth, I want to thank you for, that takes a lot of bravery to post that. Really, that's a man right there, a guy that would own that. But I'll tell you that you can have your cake and eat it too, because we'll price match. So do your homework, go Google it, go nuts. But then, we'll match the price, but feel free to still take advantage of everything else we'll do, right? Ask us, is this right for me? Is this going to do what I need it to do? And is this going to be better for me beyond 1 gig? If you can make a return on your investment in 1 gig, outstanding, good for you. But the reality is, if that gear is working for 100 gigs, you're going to make a lot more money.
Yeah. And I can attest, that's definitely what's happened to me. I've called, no, you don't need to buy this, you need to buy that. Sometimes it may be a little bit more, sometimes it may be a little bit less, but at least I felt like I made the right decision, or I was given some honest advice. And I just want to say this. We're trying to get better at not making a show about us. But I will say, when I first went to Mobile Beat, watched a few videos, and the first person I knew of was Ben. And man, I went to Ben's room, and he absolutely treated me like I was his best friend and talked to me and everything. So from the day I met him in that small room on the left side of the Tropicana up there, he's always been the same caring person. And if he's like that, at the shows, guys, think about how he is in his business, trying to make sure he sells something to you. So I'm with you, Ben, and I'm going to do better at supporting small businesses. I don't go by like that. I always research stuff, but I just shop around and deal with who I'm comfortable with, and I'm comfortable with you guys. So I know I'm going to start buying more of my stuff from y'all.
Yeah. And that. Go ahead, Ben. Yeah.
No, I just want to say thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we were in the big gobo thing. I used to call Ben and get my gobos all the time. He had one guy to design them up for my wife, but it's just, man, that's really tough to hear that, though. You like you say, we think it's all pretty and roses and going great from what we see you, Kat, and Kyle, and everybody having a great time at the shows, and we don't know
you don't know what's behind the curtain.
Big L.
Yes, and for me, I do have a story. One of my closest friends, Randall Rivens. I knew about you through him before I ever met you.
Okay.
Because he called you about something, but you walked through the entire process with him. And from that point, you have been, he's been one of your biggest fans. And he orders and gets things from you guys on a regular basis whenever he orders things. But
we love him.
He's spoken with Cal and so forth. But I knew of you before I met you through him. And so it's a great thing.
Don't worry, we'll share all the links to NLFX.
Yes. Oh, we would definitely do that.
And they're one of our sponsors, so you can go find their information on our website.
Yes.
2 DJs and 1 mic, because it's already there.
And we have something big. And Todd said, I see people selling cables and gear they brought from NLFX. I know the company will not warrant it. If I did, though, buy something used that was originally purchased from NLFX, I would still be able to receive support and information about the product. If proven, it was originally brought from the company.
Yeah, we're not trying to find ways to get out of doing work. I think that we can't make the manufacturer extend a warranty if they won't. That's the manufacturer's warranty. And he's right. I do treat everybody like that. I saw DJ Chill 56. Yeah. No, I want to come back to what Chill said in a second, but to answer Todd's question, if you're like, hey man, I just bought this mic system. And in fact, this is a literal story. It's happening right now where a guy bought a mic system that we sold to another DJ probably 10 years ago. This mic system probably should be out of service at this point. It's probably used up its serviceable life, but I've spent hours helping this guy, try to use these mics that he bought secondhand. So you know, again, every situation is situational. But yeah, I don't think we're going to take a technicality and say, well, you didn't buy it from us, they did, so tough luck. We're not going to help you with it.
So there's the answer, Todd.
Yeah. And our cables, by the way, which I firmly, honestly believe are the best cables you can buy. I mean, I've gotten more bold about saying that because history has just supported that. Well, okay. Thanks, Todd. I see your question mainly about the cables. First of all, I don't know why anybody's selling an NLFX cable. They must be retiring because those cables will last. You can pass them down to your grandkids. Second of all, you know, if you're worried about it, just buy new ones from us. You know, that's simple. But yes, we will still support them, Todd. And it's pretty easy to know that the cable is bought from us because it has our name on it. You know, it's our cable. So
well, you probably could fake it, but hopefully they don't.
We'd figure it out. So our hybrid cables, which have a combination of power and signal inside, we had somebody send in a cable for a warranty, and I mean it's immediately obvious. Our techs opened the box like, this is not our cable. So we called the customer and we're like, hey, this isn't our cable, but we can try to fix it for you. And when we opened that cable, we were blown away. We were like, what a piece of crap. I'm like, really? I mean, it's, you know, it's like what my mom always used to tell me, probably because I'm ugly, but she used to say it's what's on the inside that counts, right? And we open up this cable and we're like, what an absolute garbage cable. And we told the customer, we're like, we can fix it, but man, this thing is going to keep failing you. It is just, it's, you know, there isn't anything in the world that you can't find out how to make cheaper. And with our cables, that has never been the goal. You know, we just wanted to build a cable that you could own forever. And yeah, no, I got you, Todd. I'm just teasing you, but yeah, you know, our cables, we warranty them forever. Simple as that. So
no matter who's in possession of them. Yep.
Now I want to address what Chill said because
okay, I'll get it.
This back. I'm gonna go down a rabbit trail here. You just have to all bear with me. But you know, I grew up in a poor family in the middle of farm country in Iowa, and I honestly thought I was going to look at corn the rest of my whole life. Like, you know, and, you know, there were, you know, some kids went on vacations and they came back with the Hard Rock Cafe t-shirts or whatever, you know, the stories of SeaWorld or whatever, you know, and, you know, we worked on the farm all summer. We got rented out to other farms, you know, agricultural work, you know. And so for me, I think I always wanted rock and roll, whatever, to be my pathway out. You know, I was going to be a, you know, 80s rock and roll drummer, you know, the big poofy blonde hair, which clearly did not work out. But anyway, you know, also I'm not that great of a drummer. But, you know, I did get into this, you know, great career. And we talked about how it started kind of wild, you know, just, I mean, making lights, you know, out of coffee cans, whatever. But now I do get to tour the world and I do get to work with Grammy winners and I get to mix sound for some of the best artists on the planet. And as a consequence of that, that's not what I have found is the cool part. The cool part is that has become the means for me to just go places and see people and see things. And, you know, I have just so greatly enjoyed the genuine friendships, the connections that I've made. I mean, one of my kids said one time that, you know, they said, you have a friend in every city. And I thought, well, I hope so, you know. And so I think, you know, there's the golden rule I talked about in kindergarten, right? Treat others how you want to be treated. So, you're right, Chill. I do treat everybody like that. I try to treat people with, I think, you know, kindness and respect and grace. And, you know, hopefully I get that sometimes in return. And I think that I've been abundantly blessed by the friendships I have. I really do. You said earlier about, you know, hey, we're at the shows, you know, you don't see what's going on behind the scenes. You know, looks like we're all having a great time. We are. Because we're not thinking about the economics of it. You know, we're really just enjoying the fact that our friends are there. And people ask me all the time, how's the show been? I'm like, man, I've seen a lot of friends. But we have to somehow, you know, pay the bills, right? That you have to do that too. So
yeah, well.
Okay. So I know you kind of touched on this, but with the rise of AI streaming services, how do you see the DJ technology evolving over the next 5 years?
I think it's a tool, you know. I think just like everything else, it's going to be a tool. People used to be worried about being replaced by playlists or jukeboxes or whatever, you know. And obviously AI is much more a potential threat than that. I think that eventually computers will probably be able to mix better than humans will. They certainly can, their computational skills are already significantly better than ours. But I think AI is not ever a threat to us if we don't let it be. Because at the end of the day, I think people still value, excuse me, still value that human connection. I think people value I don't know how to try to think of a better word than humanness of humans, but I don't think we're ever going to see AI on stage. I think certainly AI can write music, AI can write scripts, AI can produce these things. But at the end of the day, my hope anyway is that our connection as humans will always be to other humans, and we'll simply harness AI as a tool to help us deliver a better product to them. So I don't think AI will ever displace DJs as the performance talent. I think it'll just augment their skills. And certainly AI isn't going to unload the truck, but sorry. I spend a lot of time unloading trucks.
We understand.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think I'm not worried about AI at all in terms of how it will harm the industry. I think that just like every other technological advance, it will be a tool you can embrace and use for your clients, but we will have to change. If you were I used house construction earlier as an example. And if you were doing, lath and plaster walls, when sheetrock came, you had to adapt. Nobody's buying lath plaster walls anymore. You got to do sheetrock now, right? So we just have to adapt to what's new. But I think people will always value other people as a part of that experience, especially when we talk about where DJs are used. My daughter just got married last summer. That's intimate and personal. And I want a human for that. So,
all right, I like that answer.
Todd has a good question, and I'm pretty sure based on his question, Todd may be someone that you want to talk to offline about this. He said, "Would you consider having a live stream from your vendor booth doing events, so your offerings could be shared to more people than who attend the show or who's at the show?"
Yeah, I think that, and there are, certainly you guys have come by our booth and others have, DJ NTV, Rachel Lynch, others have done live streams from our booth. We have to be really careful about, what we talk about with show special pricing. There are rules that we have to follow from the manufacturers, and these prices are kind of intended to be show specials. And, we have to just be careful about that. I'd love to talk to you more about it for sure, Todd, without a doubt. and of course, we'd love to connect to more people. But I think I also want to just say, if you can come to the show, you should. And it's not about coming into our demo room. It's about what happens at the show. And I think this is a really good callback to what I just said about AI and people. There is really something that happens. And I used to do an event called the Sound and Lighting Symposium, and it was 4 days of pretty hard-hitting, intense training on sound and lighting. We had some amazing presenters. And despite the fact that we had some of the most knowledgeable people in the industry presenting over the course of 4 really intense days, I mean, people would talk about their brains just getting melted, which I loved. What I thought was really valuable was what happened at night and in the hotel and, in the venues, as you saw our attendees congregate and share ideas and grow. So I think the same things happen at trade shows, conferences. If you never go to a single seminar at a conference and you just spent time in the hallway, I think you leave better for it.
Agree. Because
but I love your idea, Todd.
Yeah, because it, like you said, it's so much more than just the trade show itself and the showroom floor or the classes. The relationships that you're able to build from networking is the real blessing for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, 100%. Because when I go to the shows now, I feel like I'm going to see my second family, my other brothers and sisters and so forth. And it's just so great to see people and, and just have these conversations and so forth. Todd is somebody that we met at, in Boston, and we've been, like brothers sense, as well as yourself. So you're right. That is such a beautiful part.
Yeah.
And people take that for granted. But if you give yourself the opportunity to attend, you'll understand.
Yeah, but it's a little deeper than that, Todd. So hopefully y'all can talk about it. But what's the next question, Miguel?
Okay.
Before you ask the next question, I want to say I had a special moment this year, and I think now at one point over the last 31 years, all of my kids have attended at least one show. But this year, my son attended the MEX show in Las Vegas and worked in the booth, and he does now actually work for the company, which I never saw that coming, believe me. But anyway, he works on our systems integration team. He does install, and his background is construction, so he's brought that to our team, and it's great. But I said, hey, I promised you a trip to Vegas, so it's a work trip. So and of course he was disappointed that we worked most of the time. But what was so cool was so many friends that were there recognized him and said, I've watched you grow up on Facebook. Wow. I mean, they felt like they knew him because they're like, I know you because I've watched you grow up. And I thought, yeah, that's what it is, right? We are better together than not.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah. Buy local, buy small. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all.
Go ahead, Jeff.
And local is a relative thing, right? We're not talking about geography anymore.
I don't mean like that.
Main Street has changed.
We can, a lot of us, even here, we don't really have just local DJ stores anymore either. I mean, we have one major chain, but that's about it as far as getting our gear. So we really have to do a lot of shopping on the internet, even being in a big city like Dallas. So you've been a strong advocate for DJs treating their with more professionalism. What do you think needs to change in the DJ community to make it more professional?
Well, at risk of using the word to answer the question, I think we need to be more professional, and I talked, I know what a cop out, right? But I mentioned that earlier about just thinking about how we buy gear, thinking about that as a capital acquisition. I talk a lot on the technology side in the industry. And so I talk a lot about things like waveform propagation and other things that relate to the physics of the audio and lighting, whatnot. And I accept and I realize that nobody got into this business because they wanted to do more math. I know that nobody said, hey, I want to do logarithmic calculations. Well, I think also nobody wanted to be accountants, right? And I get that. But that's what I mean is, like treating your business like a business, maintaining a set of books, maintaining a separate bank account, and again, you're talking to a guy who used to live in a homeless shelter and make lights out of coffee cans. I get it. I've been there. I walked that walk, but it just kind of slays me sometimes when people are like, well, we'll see how I do on the floor tonight gambling. Maybe I'll come back and buy that. I don't know. And I'm like, your business shouldn't hinge on a slot machine or a blackjack table. Like
how you do on the tables. But it's funny you say that, Ben, because this show, there was a lot of talk about being professional. And a lot of people me and Mike interviewed on the floor or in the hallways were saying they came to the conference to get better business ideas and be better business people overall. They didn't just want to run a business or a hobby anymore. Just make it a hobby. They wanted to make it into a business. So we heard a lot of that at the show.
Yeah. A whole lot.
Yeah. And those people are going to be the winners, without a doubt. There's in the business world, there are winners and losers, and sometimes it's not fair. Sometimes it doesn't go your way, but most times, it really depends on the choices you make, right? And the people who run their businesses like businesses, I've got some profoundly successful customers, who run their businesses like businesses. In fact, I have a great story about my very good friend, Bill Herman, who I'll pick on him because I don't care. I already electrocuted him once. So what's, this story? Man, if you didn't see that video, you have to go find it on YouTube. We were making a demonstration about proper grounding in front of everybody at the Mobile Beach show. And he was brave enough to grab onto a box I had made. Anyway,
almost took out another industry great.
That's right. Now, I understood what I was doing and I was very safe, and Bill was actually never in any danger, but we didn't tell him that. So he was thoroughly convinced he was. But, Bill is great because he is an exceptional entertainer, and he's an exceptional MC, and he's exceptional at improv. And what he's not exceptional at is gear. And he will just call me and he'll say, I need a mixing board. I'm like, okay, Bill, we got to narrow it down a little here. That's like 10,000 different things, right? And, I'll kind of say, how many inputs do you need? What do you need it to do? And I'm like, all right, I'll send you a quote. And he goes, no, don't send me a quote. He goes, just send me the mixer. And I'm like, all right. I said, well, do you want to know what
Bill, man?
I know. And I said, do you want to know what it costs? He's like, not really. And I'm like, okay, well, that's weird, but okay. And I guess the point, I'm not saying you should do that without knowing what gear costs, but my point is that Bill understands it doesn't really matter. He's going to make the money on it. He's budgeted for whatever it needs to be. Now, again, I think I would encourage everybody to get a quote, understand what the gear is going to cost, how long it's going to be in service, how much money it's going to, but anyway, I just want to make that point. Like, some people are running successful businesses. They don't want to spend their time scrolling Google, looking for a deal. They don't want to spend their time negotiating because they know that they're going to save maybe $5 if they're lucky. And they know that that's going to cost them more in the end, right? We do business with, big entities too. The biggest of which probably is the U.S. military. And now there's a lot of talk right now about government waste and all that. And I don't want to get into any of that, but I will just say that what people often think is that the government has to take the lowest bidder. They do not, because that would be dumb in the end, right? They have to take the lowest qualified bidder. And that's an important word.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah.
So we have a question by DJ Chill, aka Maurice the Dinosaur. He said, by the way, Ben, this is Maurice. Did you or NLFX recently start having a payment plan for buying?
Well, the truth is we've actually had it for probably 20 years. We just maybe didn't make it as well known as we should have. And that's on us. So we do have, and again, this is part about being a business person. Money costs money. So we can do up to 48-month 0% financing. But if you do shorter financing, we can often offer deeper discounts because that financing does cost money. It's 0% to you, but no bank in the world is interested in borrowing that money at 0%, period. Like, that's just not, these are bazillionaires that are ultimately holding the purse strings of this money. Believe me, they're going to get theirs, right? So we pay them. When you take 48-month financing, we pay a fee on that. And the shorter you finance, the lower the fee we pay, the more money we can put to you. So as a business person, you can decide what is better for you, a lower price upfront and shorter financing, or longer financing and cash flow. Sorry, guys, I'm still fighting this illness I've had for a little while, but
we know you're in the frozen tundra. It's okay.
There is still snow out my window. Yeah. But anyway, I know some people are going, man, you just gave me a headache. Like, that sounds really complicated. It's not. Short answer, we've got a lot of financing options available to you. We can make it very easy, up to 48 months, 0% interest, or, at 6 months, 0% interest. We can do the same discounts we could do as if you were paying, with a credit card. So,
all right, see,
I love that.
There you go.
Hey, it's going down. So
there is no reason not to do business with us. None. Zero.
Yeah, I agree. So what's the most underrated piece of DJ equipment that more people should be paying attention to at this moment?
Oh boy. Golly.
I know that's a mind blower.
It is.
Give us two or three. Give us two or three.
Don't bail him out. One or two, maybe.
Yes,
one or
bail
two.
me out. See, I know which one of you guys likes me better. I would say, hey, Lance, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. I love these comments, by the way. Like I said, my ADHD is going berserk, but it's so nice to see friends like,
And Mike is not helping by putting them up either.
I know he's doing it on purpose.
Answer the question.
Yeah. I'm just trying to stall. When do we run out of time? So I would say, we could get into, I think obviously when you say underrated, the things that you're going to think about are going to be like, loudspeakers, controllers. You got to have those things or you can't DJ, right? So they're not underrated. They're essential, right? But I would say things that we don't use on a regular basis, and that would be maybe like our remote cable tester, or like, this is a voltage and amperage tester. I got all kinds of goodies laying around me here in my office, but I think things like that keep our show on the road. We could talk. There's probably a lot of things that, probably a lot of correct answers. I mean, a good cart. I don't know, you know, a bolt.
If you run a cable and it doesn't work, you don't know why. So that's a good
thing. Oh,
thing.
cables for sure. Yeah. Well, if you're buying NLFX platinum cables, you don't have to worry about it. So, you know, it's
like that. Love it.
I like it.
And you know what? The question that
let's
you
get
had
the best cables.
Oh, yes. The question that you had before we started the show, with Maurice, he needs that device because it could have been the cables.
Absolutely could have been a cable.
If he was able to test it right then and there, that he possibly would have answered his question.
Yep.
There was a comment. Now, again, we guarantee our cables forever, and they are really, really hard to kill. We've heard some stories about how people have killed them, and they're pretty extraordinary. But usually involves like almost like a murder scene, practically. You know, like what they did to that cable. We're like, how did you do that? But anyways, I saw a post one time when a DJ said, "So if I need 3 cables to run my system, how many should I bring to a show?" You know, and some people were like 3, and I'm like 100. You know, I'm like, I mean, I don't know, maybe not 100, right? But guys, have backups, right? Stuff happens. I work in the touring world, and we're using, gear that's the cost of which would blow your mind, but it still fails too.
Yes, sir.
Got to have some backups, especially something as small and light and inexpensive as a cable. Man, I'd have a spare cable. Even if you have our cables, I'd have a spare cable.
Yeah.
Well, I have something.
Yeah.
There it is. I think that's it. I love it. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, he has one.
Yes,
yeah, he bought. What you bought that one? Chicago.
Yep, Chicago.
Yeah, at the Marquee Show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it is $69. It includes a carry case. We also included some test probes, so you could use it as like a continuity tester. Thank you. I see you haven't taken those out of the bag yet. But listen, the first time you use that and it saves you a major headache at a show. I mean, that's money in the bank right there, right?
Yeah.
And I think we built it pretty well. I think it's pretty solid. Yeah, I think, Mike, I tell you what, you're good at this. I like you, man.
We are, man. That's why we're sponsored by NFLX.
Yeah, Vanna White's got nothing on you. I love it.
Yeah, NLFX, man. We love them. We love those guys.
But,
thank you.
In all honesty, there is nothing like, getting good equipment from good people.
Yeah.
That's making sure that you're getting the right thing. And you can't, I'm just saying, you can't, there's not enough money that you can spend on it.
Yeah. And I think they genuinely care. Because like I say, you can, of course, everybody we know and everybody that's been on here tonight has testified to the fact that their customer service is just like I posted the other day. It's extraordinary. They're wonderful. And we need to support our small shops.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, or you won't have them. Simple as that. So, I mean, if you don't support the small shops, I mean, guys, I don't know if you think we have a giant money tree in the backyard, but we ain't gonna be around,
No.
Oh, yeah. And you see people coming out on
Keith
the
from Canada.
Yes, he's from Canada. He said he had it.
Yeah.
Lance says the tester has saved him so much.
Yeah.
So, it's nothing like it.
Yeah. Logan checking in from
what's up, my guy? Hey.
See, all your old friends will pop on. We'll have a family reunion right here.
I love it.
All right, we're getting right along because one of us has to go DJ tonight. So.
Go ahead. There's the last question.
Last question for me. If you could give one piece of advice, not 2 and 3 this time, being
okay, all right, good.
To DJs looking to the future, proof their business, what would it be? What is something that you would give them? I think you already said it, but I'm gonna let you answer anyway.
I'm gonna say invest in yourself. The thing that makes you your brand is you. I mean, I work for Grammy winners and whatnot doing sound, and nobody says, well, I could have booked this person, but that person, whatever. I mean, if they want to go see that artist, they're going to that artist. They're not saying, well, this artist is $250,000 and that artist is $150,000. I mean, you want to go see that artist, you're going to see him, right? Or, ticket prices, whatever. I mean, gosh, that's another story. I do think ticket prices are out of hand, but invest in you, because that is what makes you AI proof. It's what makes you competition proof. It's when people want to book you, and those investments can be more than just your talent. Because even if you're running a multi-op, investing in your operational, and organizational skills, understanding things that we talked about, like ROI and amortization, making that gear make you money. I'm curious what he's got on the phone here.
I don't know if you can see my post, but this is what I posted. I'm gonna invite you. I don't know if you're in my group or not, DJ Crosstalk.
No,
I don't think so. No,
200 or 300 DJs in Dallas that I
I
have.
thought we were friends too, but okay.
Well, we are. But no,
Mike likes me. You don't like me.
no, Ben, I love you.
I know. I'm just playing.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, my exact post today: your business doesn't grow unless you do invest into yourself. It doesn't. Your business won't grow unless you invest. That was the exact post I posted in the group for everybody today. So
I love what Chris said.
You hit home.
Chris
Yeah.
Carr.
Right on the money.
No one does a better impression of you than you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Be uniquely you.
Yeah. Well, Ben, we hope things get better, man. And hopefully, I'm going to invite you to the group, and I'm going to give you a free license to advertise and post sales and advertisements and all kind of stuff in the group. They get mad, get out. But I want you guys to support them. And I mean, I've given that license to other people. They didn't take advantage of it. But we have and I have a select group of DJs around the country that I let into this group. So
thank you for that.
I'm opening up DJ Crosstalk to you to, if anybody, I mean, I tell them anyway, reach out to Ben, but it is officially open. And if you don't like it, get out. But Ben will be doing, come in and say whatever, answer any questions, anything you guys have. Because I know I've seen you do it in DJ Sharon and other groups too. Well, you'll pop on like the wizard and pop off.
Yeah. The force.
He'll come in and ask a question all technically and then just pop off. Poof.
Like that.
I do have a lightsaber around the corner.
I really appreciate it, brother. You've been nothing but a great friend since the time I met you in 2016 in that room. And I mean, every time I see you, it's just like I just met somebody I talk to every day, and he remains the same. He doesn't change, and that's another thing I love about the conference too. 99% of the people will be a millionaire, whatever they're doing, making a lot of money, solo op, multi-op, whatever, are all down to earth. Everybody leaves their wallet, their bank account at the door, and they're just a DJ or another person trying to learn and share.
Yeah, and it
I
is.
love that.
Yeah. So.
And again, you have our support, Ben. Any way that we can help, we will, do that. And we just, everyone that's listening now and who will listen later, please support the independent stores. We need these people. We need people like Ben and his team because they are important. They make it happen. And like you say, it's so hard to talk to someone on customer service. So many companies, they don't even offer you that. And then you get on a live chat, you're talking to a bot. So I'm just saying, you and your team, it doesn't matter the situation. You're going to make sure that the person knows. Yeah. And you can't beat that. So
and I'll just put it NLFXpro.com.
I'll just put the whole thing in there.
Yeah, you got to put the pro in there. NLFXpro.com. Okay. We're not the amateur division.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have any bots at NLFX, so which I mean, listen, I'm a big Star Wars fan. I saw the Clone Wars. I saw how that ended. So
All right, I got it right now. There it is. There's that. So
NLFX
Pro. They can get in contact with you if they need you, Ben, and we're gonna get on out of here.
Yes.
Yeah. So the website should be NLFXpro.com.
It's fixed, sir.
Oh, okay. Still showing NLFX up here on mine. But anyway, I just want to make sure everybody knew in case you're seeing it NLFX. There it is. Yeah. NLFXpro.com. Yeah. And you can reach out to me on Facebook. Just, find Ben Stowe. It's the one that looks like me. You can send me an email, ben@nlfxpro.com. Whatever. Yeah, true story, right? But yeah, I mean, whatever's best or easiest for you, you can call our office, and they can. I mean, again, I got great coworkers. Kyle's fantastic. Kat, she's a legend. She's been there 20 years. Linnea is, I don't even know. Linnea is like just something. She's amazing. She is customer service.
I think we met her at NAMM. Did she go to NAMM?
Not this year, but she went one year. Meg went this year, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, I got just an amazing group of coworkers around me that are smart and sincere and caring. So feel free to always reach out to me personally. But again, don't sleep on my coworkers because they are outstanding people. Some really, really good professionals.
Yeah.
All righty.
You hire instant goats. So I'm grateful for that. Instant.
Well, Kyle can tell you what that process is like. It's not I mean, we were like, listen, man, here's the expectations. And fortunately, Kyle was a customer of ours for many years before coming to work for us. So I think he understood, where the bar was at. But, we really don't just hire on an impulse, right? It's, there's a lot of thought about, because delivering that experience, delivering that customer service isn't always easy, and working with the unique customer base that we have isn't always easy. So,
yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, Ben. Well, we want to thank you for your time. It was totally an honor. We look forward to doing this more often. And you get better.
Yeah,
We'll try to send some sunshine your way. Make it. We'll try.
I tell you, I'm definitely getting tired of being sick. It's just kind of the cough's hanging on. It's all over. So
I have it too. So I think it's every time we change atmospheres or go to a different city and come back home, it gets crazy.
But Ben is in ice.
I know, but still, he went to Vegas a few weeks ago.
And before that, so I was in Phoenix, and then I was in Canada.
That's the problem.
Yeah, Phoenix to Canada, and then Nashville, and then North Dakota, and then Vegas. So like hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold.
Yeah, that definitely will do it. But all right, everybody, DJ JP has to go get in the mix, so I got to go. This show has to be ending now. So we don't forget, we're going to add Ben to the group, and we appreciate everybody tuning in. God bless and good night.
All right, see you guys. Thank you, Ben. Again,
thank you, guys.
All right.
Appreciate you a bunch.
All right.